Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us at In Creative Company today. I'm Kimberly Roots. I'm managing editor of TVLine.com, and I'm here today with the incomparable Yolonda Ross from Showtime's The Chi. Thank you so much for being here and talking to us today.
Thanks for having me.
So it's so nice to have to be able to talk about the character and the process and all this good stuff, the stuff that we sometimes don't get so much into. So let's dive right in. So I want to know, having watched the show for a while now and kind of watched the evolution of Jada, talk to me a little bit about what you knew about the character coming in and kind of what has evolved as you've played her these years.
You mean from the inception of the show?
From the inception of the show, like what did you know coming in?
Well, I knew Jada was a nurse. I knew she had a child that had 3 children. And that was a big part of the storyline,
Yeah.
their relationship, and really not much more than that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, that's a lot, right? But that's also, that gives you, I would imagine, a lot of room to kind of play.
Character. Yeah. No, it really did, because with different scenarios that would come to her storyline, to the character, you just, you're able to kind of like just take them on as they come, because everything was just already, it was an open book to just let things in. So.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I'm wondering, what have there been things? I know obviously on various shows, things are different set to set. Like some shows you can make suggestions that get heard, and some shows you make suggestions that nobody wants to hear. So I'm wondering, what's it like on The Chi, for instance, like if you have an idea about something about Jada, how is that? Is that something that's kind of an open environment, or is it more like you kind of stick to what's on the script page?
Well, for me, for Yolanda, I always have something to say, something, that I want to push or get out there. And, at the beginning of each season, they do tell you what they plan on doing with your character. And just sort of like, if there's things that you're interested in or you want to say about the character, it's like that's the time to bring them up, before they start getting into actually writing out these scripts.
Right.
So, for me, if there's something that either I have a question about or something I've looked into that deals with something that Jada is going through or deals with her job or something like that, I'll bring those things up then. And in each episode with the different storylines that are happening, I'll bring up things and, see where they can play, or things with our characters as far as like a family, especially this season with, Jada going through cancer.
Right.
It's brought our family together more, her ex and her son. So, there were just certain things there that I was thinking I felt viewers would want to see. And also, Black women want to see us go through on screen, that it just makes you feel like you're being seen. So I will bring up things to the right.
That's amazing. Can you give me an example of maybe one of those that we might have seen already?
Something's coming up, I can say that.
Okay.
And it does bring the family together.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that got shot that didn't make it to air. There's a beautiful scene too, where the family did get together again, and it was, dealing with Jada's cancer diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to talk. I mean, I don't want to talk so much about Jada having cancer, but what a huge challenge, right? As an actress. But sidebar, I was thinking the scene where we see her, she's unwrapping her hair and some of it's falling out. I was thinking we've seen that scene with white women 1,000 times on TV, right? I cannot remember a scene with a woman of color doing that. And I was like, taken a little bit aback by that. It was awesome. It's and a little annoying that we haven't seen that yet, right?
Well, all these things are things that I brought up. Yeah. Because they didn't know if they wanted to see that happen to her. And I'm like, it has to happen to her, because breast cancer is one of the cancers that your hair comes out, that is an automatic. And we wouldn't be doing justice if we didn't show that you know, and I thought just what you thought. I've seen white women go through this on screen
Right.
multiple times, and I have not seen Black women go through it. You know, even just talking about the cancer diagnosis and what we go through, the actual seeing the step-by-step what we go through. I thought it was very important to show those details, because that's when women feel they're most vulnerable. So to be able to show that and let it known that we see you, we're here, you know, we're there with you, I thought it was very important.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember reading or hearing you say somewhere that, you know, Jada is kind of emblematic of the type of woman who takes care of everyone, like is always, always, always thinking about her kids. And even in her line of work, like her patients, the people that she's taking care of. I'm wondering if you can speak at all to the cancer storyline in light of playing a character like this, who is so selfless, who does put herself kind of last on the list all the time.
Well, you know, in one of the episodes, I mean, she said it, you know, I took care of you. I was there for you. I was there for Emmett. You know, I'm tired. I'm tired of taking care of everybody. I want somebody to just, you know, take care of me for a change. You know, she said that in so many words. And it's one of those things where you are, you know, selflessly doing, because that's what we do. You know, it's not somebody else there to take care of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So many times Black women do take care of the family, because there's, you know, not a significant other, a partner there with her. You know, and it's not just Black women, but there's a lot of single women out there. And then to throw on top of that, having something that could take your life, that's stress, you know. There are so many emotions that go into that I don't know how people make it through it, but they do. So
Right.
to have somebody there with you during something like this, when you're going through this journey, is so important. It's so important, because the stresses that it causes, you know, stress itself just, it makes everything worse than, you know, if you had people with you walking you through it, you know, holding your hand through it, just someone to just relieve you of a little bit of what you have to deal with every day.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I'm going to bring up now, Suede and his little intro into her story right at this time that she, you know, if anyone is not familiar with the show, Jada's got a nice looking younger man who is helping her out and in love with, like, genuinely in love with her. This is a love story as far as I see it. Talk to me a little bit about playing her a little bit more, like you mentioned, vulnerable, but also like kind of emotionally vulnerable, letting someone in at this time, you know, in her life.
I thought it was really interesting because, you know, he was introduced last season, and I thought it was just, you know, a one-off situation that was, you know, funny and all. But then when he came back, and then when she got diagnosed with cancer, and he was still there and taking care of her, like really being there and showing that it's a real relationship to him and to her. I thought it was very interesting to see, because at any age, when somebody is going through something like that, many times, which I found out from dealing with some of the organizations there in Chicago, partners leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? Why? At this time, when this person who you've been with, you know, however many years, is going through something that is life or death, that's when you leave? You know, I couldn't understand that. So for Sway to be there during this time, when she is, you know, a single woman, I thought it was beautiful, and the conflicts that come up with that, you know, because I mean that's the time. Like, I'm glad she started out, you know, in the season looking a little more glamorous and being out and having fun, so that it could go somewhere. And
Right.
just to show that, and he's still there, you know, that I think that's very important, because I mean, people these days many times are very superficial. So it's not about looks, it's not about what you think this older woman is, and da 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 da. It's about, he cares about Jada. So
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I love them. I have little heart eye emojis for your characters. Um, you mentioned speaking with some organizations in Chicago. I'm wondering, that kind of leads me to think about like what kind of prep do you specifically as an actress do for this kind of intense, I guess, section of your character's life? Like what did you do ahead of time?
Well, the first thing I did was I called a couple of friends of mine that have been through breast cancer, and one of them, when I read the script, she had been diagnosed in the same exact way. Like her boyfriend felt the lump. And I was like, when I read it, I was shocked. I was shocked. I got on the phone with her immediately because it's like I knew what happened, but I, like many people, didn't ask a bunch of questions. I didn't want to be intrusive, didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable in any way. But at this point, I was like, I need to know what it was like from the inside, going through all the steps and things I didn't know, like your fingernails turn dark, your skin changes color, how it makes you feel, the nausea, the sickness, all of it. So I went through it that way. And then I started dealing with groups. I got introduced to a nurse in Chicago at Northwestern, Melissa Simon. And she introduced me to Equal Hope, Center for Health Equity Transformation, when dealing with the healthcare disparities, which are really there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just learned so much in that way, to women and seeing what everybody's going through.
Yeah. It's such a heavy thing. And I remember talking to an actor once who was playing an illness, and they said, I know I'm not dying, but my body does not know I'm not dying when I leave at the end of the day. And it's a physical thing to shake off. I'm wondering how that manifested for you, if it did at all.
It did. It's one of those things where, when shooting these scenes, as they got heavier and heavier, that weight was on me. And, you start thinking about your own mortality and why things happen in your own life and things like that. So I did feel what Jada was feeling in moments, because to me, they're all very real moments. And you're right. Your body does not know better. I also, as the actor, wanted to make sure that I didn't manifest too much of that, hold on to too much of that, because I feel like the mind is so strong that it can make things happen in the body. So, I did just kind of get into each scene and then get out of it, make sure that I, was separate from that, pulled out of it. And the way we shot this season kind of helped in that way, where, we would I could shoot out like a whole scene in a day for me. So there was like chunks of time in between where, sometimes when you're shooting a lot and you kind of stay in that same place of the character. It gave us time, or it gave me time anyway, to step out of it. So I'm thankful.
Yeah. Ooh, much needed break, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The relationships on the show are part of what makes it so strong. You get these friends who feel like family who actually feel like family. And one of the strongest ones in my mind is the way that you and Jacob Lattimore, who plays your son, Jada's son, Emmett, are on the show. Just in general, not even particular to this season, but talk to me a little bit about how that came about. Did you guys have to work on building that? Tell me a little bit about your kind of working relationship with him.
It's so funny because we didn't. Jacob, like from the time we tested together to become Jada and Emmett, I knew he was the one, you know what I mean? And so once we started working together, the years leading up to this year, they were definitely mother and child, but I feel as actors, we got closer. And I feel it's because of the storyline this year, where she's not telling her child to do this or be that way or da-da-da. He's there. They're two adults dealing with things and caring for each other. And I feel like we as actors got closer, I love everything about this season. I do. We didn't have a problem in the first place, but we just got even closer this season.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of intense stuff going on this season for the two of you. I mean, I'm just thinking of what's already aired, and like, it seems like the situation is forcing him to, for lack of a better word, grow up kind of quickly. Right.
Yes. That's exactly what I meant by it, because it's like, he was an adult. Well, he was younger.
He was a man child. I'll say it. He's your kid on screen, but I'll say it.
But exactly. But now it's like, he's an adult and dealing with things and maturing. Mm-hmm. That's really the thing. He's maturing, and it's bringing them closer. It's like he's understanding more. And then he's, stepping up. He's stepping up.
So cool. You've previously worked on a whole bunch of shows. You've been in movies. So I'm going to list a few of them now because they're all very impressive. How to Get Away with Murder, Treme, The Get Down. You were in Whitney. I'm just wondering, like, I like to ask this of people who've done a lot of different stuff. What would you tell someone like that coming into the business now about what they need to know about being on a TV show, for instance? Like, what was something that you didn't know or didn't realize until you'd done it for a while?
Not to blow everything in the first take, the first few takes, because, especially if you have these emotional scenes, there are so many setups sometimes where, you had all that emotion, like, 12 takes ago, but now it's your coverage and your close-ups, and it's like, oh, now I don't feel my face doesn't feel anything anymore. I can't cry. I'm like, so it's like, it's like, hold on to that. And also ask questions like, who's going first? Who are you guys covering? That kind of thing, just so you can be emotionally prepared, know how they're shooting it. Because that really does help, because sometimes directors don't tell you what's happening, because I feel like, for me, I know I visualize when I am shooting, so it's like I'm in the moment, but it's good for me to know how things will look, like what you're like, if you're doing some sort of camera trick or something, slow motion versus straight, or some sort of angle that we're not understanding, and you're really only focusing on, I don't know, my toe or my finger and not my face. And you have these kinds of things. It's like, it's nice to know those things, but
yeah. Now you have me wondering, like, what do you do when it's take 12 and you spent it all in takes 1 and 2?
You know what? There's times like I just had to sort of, and you feel it, like there was a time where the camera was on me. It was my shot, and I know we weren't doing a lot of takes, and it's like, it's not here. And it's like, I just sort of stopped. And, I wouldn't say that for everybody, but for myself, I just stopped, because it was like something I didn't want them to use, first off. Because it's like, you go through that whole scene, that might be the take that they use. And it's like, I didn't want you to use that one. It's like, I wasn't even there fully in that one. So I just stopped. It's like, let me do it again. And just collect myself outside, but take that time to collect myself, slow myself down, because you get kind of like, oh, I got to get it because, they want to get out of here. The location's going to be up soon. That all these things, slow yourself down and just kind of breathe for a minute, get your music in your head or whatever it is that's getting you to that moment, and then go,
Do you use music? Are you someone who uses that a lot?
Always. Yeah.
So wait, hold on. This is so fascinating to me. So do you have go-to songs, or is it like scene specific, or?
Wait, no, it's I have go-to songs for whatever the thing is. Like, this is the first time, because Jada is part of an ongoing thing, I don't have music for her necessarily. I have music for situations. Like in our show, the music I use, when I use music, it's usually for Darnell, when they have scenes together that are that put them together as, I don't want to say as a couple, because they're not a couple, but those two characters. Because to me, it's like thinking about when they were together, when they got together. So like in the 90s sometimes. So there's like a John B song and there's a Jodeci song. So those are their songs, what they fell in love to. And I play that stuff to kind of like take them back to a moment.
I love that. I know. So now if you're ever out and about and you hear it on the radio, are you instantly like in the moment?
Wait. To get made up while we were doing makeup, John B came on. I was like, this is Darnell and Jada. I totally said that. Yeah, it came on and I'm sitting there thinking about scenes from this season. So.
Oh, and I just picture Darnell with his little like earpiece in being like, what? Like, like so oblivious to all the emotional work that Jada's doing.
I'm sure he has his own.
I'm kidding. I just meant the character.
He's so good.
Oh, he's so good. So good. Before I let you go, I'm wondering, I feel like actors have either the benefit or the tragedy of knowing kind of ahead of time what their day is going to look like, and whether it's going to be a day where you have to cry all day or a day where you have to do a lot of heavy lifting. I'm wondering if you've ever, it doesn't have to just be on the show, but in any show, have you known a scene was coming and you're like, crap, like this is going to be hard for me. And I'm just wondering if that is a thing that happens, or if it's just something that you kind of roll with as it comes, and if there's any particular way you prep for a hard day.
Yeah, actually, I did something. It was a few hard days. It was, I did a short of all things that it was a homeless woman. And, it was really good. It was called Woman Outside. And to get into a character that does not have complete thoughts, that some of what's in her head comes out, and just random thoughts and actions, that was the hardest thing for me to do as an actor, like out of all the work that I'd done, because it wasn't a complete thought. Nothing was ever fully developed, yet it was a moving train that didn't go anywhere. It just kind of moved around in the mind, and some of it came out. So it was really weird, but it was very fulfilling to do. And I remember, telling the director, it's like, this is not somebody I want to be in right now. But I really want to go through that. I want to bring her to life. It was a very important short, and person to see, how they got there, what they go through in a day.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I enjoy talking to you so much, and I really, really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us today. Thanks so much, Yolanda.
Thanks for having me.
Yay.